Chris, did you say you have to leave at 7? Okay, well. Well, we'll still have a quorum if you have to leave, you know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm showing more of that. Most more fit.
Oh, really?
All right, 6:30. Okay, Adam, we good to go? All right. Like to call to order the January 15th Fortville Redevelopment Commission meeting. Do a quick roll call, please.
Scott Meyer.
Present by phone,
Scott Meyer,
present by Zoom.
Dan Hughey,
Here.
Chris McCray here, Ed Brand here, Mike Kelty
Here.
Stacy Nielsen. I don't believe she's on.
Next one is to take the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We now have to have the swear-in ceremony of all members. Council President will do this, I believe.
Okay. So are you all gonna say after me? Raise your right hand.
Do it together.
Yeah. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully perform
I do
solemnly swear that I will faithfully perform
the duties of my appointed position on the Redevelopment Commission
the duties of my appointed position on the Redevelopment Commission
and will support and honor to the best of my ability
and will support and honor to
to the best of my ability
all applicable laws of the
All-
state of Indiana
all applicable laws of Indiana
and the town of Fortville.
and the town of Fortville.
I hereby affirm that I will perform
I hereby affirm
Will perform
the duties of this public trust
the trust.
in a fair, equitable, and ethical manner. So help me God.
So-
Thanks, guys.
So we'll go back. I'd like to approve the meeting agenda for today.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, we'll now go to old business, which appears we have none. Is that correct, Adam? Or sorry, yeah, we now need to go to select president, vice president, and secretary. So nominate, I guess I'll ask for nomination of for president. I will nominate Scott Meyer.
I'll second that.
Okay, we vote these individually, Adam, or how do we do them?
Sure, you can do it individually.
Okay, all in favor of Scott Meyer being first off, Scott, you still want to do it, correct?
That's fine. I'll do it.
All right. All right, all those in favor of Scott Meyer being council president, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we're looking for a nomination for vice president.
I nominate Dan Huey for vice president.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we'll take a vote for vice president, for Dan Hughey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now take, nomination for secretary. Nominate, Chris McCray.
And I'll second that.
Thank you very much.
Lucky me.
I should have asked you first, right?
Yeah, all good.
All right. All those in favor of Chris McCray as board secretary? Say aye.
Aye.
We also need to select a member to serve on the Fortville Business Park Development Control Committee. It has been our current serving member.
I will take that position again if nobody else wants it.
We need a formal motion on this too, Adam?
Yes.
Okay. I guess we need to, I'll nominate Ed to be our member of the Fortville Business Park Development Control Committee.
And I will second.
All those in favor of Ed being a member of the Fortville Business Park Development Control Commission, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, and I need a motion, consideration for approving the minutes of the November 2025 meeting. I need a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the November 20th, 25. December.
No, we did not.
Okay. November 20th, 25 meeting minutes is written.
I'll second.
All those in favor of approving the minutes from November 2025, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. New business. We have Mark, I'll hopefully get it right, Dollase of Indiana Landmarks to discuss options for the historic Ayers House building at 124 East Staat Street. Mark, the floor is yours.
Thank you. And it's nice to be back before you. I think it was last year at some point I was here. I think you had another proposal or a proposal that had come before you at that time. And I think it's just simply our organization's perspective at that point to encourage the building's preservation and adaptive use, which we at least hope to discuss a little bit further with you this evening. So as you said, my name is Mark Dollase. I'm vice president at Indiana Landmarks. I've worked there for over 30 years, working in the field of historic preservation and community development. I have served in many different capacities, including 3 stints appointed by lieutenant governors on the Indiana Main Street Council, so focused very much on downtown revitalization and the work that we do there, including the fact our organization, Indiana Landmarks, was the one that helped working with, at the time, Lieutenant Governor O'Bannon to create the Indiana Main Street program across this great state. I think in my initial conversations with Adam, we thought it might be beneficial, since some of you may not be at all familiar with our organization, to do a real brief PowerPoint about us and give you a little bit of sense of the work that we've done before. So I'm going to ask Adam if he would bring that up. I'm just going to talk through it a little bit. So by way of background, our organization was founded in 1960 by Eli Lilly, the man, not the company. And he pulled together a number of other individuals, key individuals that were primarily Indianapolis residents that served sort of key business leaders. And over the 65 years or so we've been in existence, we are now the largest statewide historic preservation organization in the United States. We have a staff of about 45 and a endowment of about $110 million. So we're a very solid organization. I can say that my colleagues and I have been involved in hundreds of rehabilitation projects in the time that we have worked in the organization, and have done touched on thousands throughout the state. So I am based in Indianapolis at our state headquarters in the Old North Side Historic District, but I oversee as well 8 other regional offices that we have around the state. So we're very much integrated in local communities, and myself and my colleague Alex Brooks, we work here primarily focused in central Indiana. And so that's why I'm here this evening here in Fortville. So just to show you our mission statement, that we work to revitalize communities, reconnect Hoosiers to our heritage, and we save meaningful places. And those can have lots of different definitions to different people in terms of what is meaningful to them. But we certainly hope that through the process of meeting with communities where they are, that we can come to understand what places have a great meaning to them as well. So I mentioned we have our regional office system around the state where we feel it's best, unlike, say, the Indiana Historical Society that has their headquarters in downtown Indianapolis with all their staff. We feel it's better to decentralize people around the state so they're where you're at and get to know you in your communities. The black boxes are indications of where all of our offices are around the state. Next. So just to show you some quick sort of real estate focus type things, our first investments in Indiana were in the Lockerbie Square neighborhood, right in the downtown core of Indianapolis back in the 1970s. So this project that you see on the screen, the Holler Cottage, somehow they had the vision to revitalize that deteriorated property as the bicentennial project for the city of Indianapolis. And this is what it looks like now. Currently owned. It was restored decades ago, but has been maintained as such. Every project that Indiana Landmarks invests in or rehabs ourselves or that helps a local organization do a project, then we attach what are called protective covenants on the deed of the property to ensure that A, it's not threatened with demolition in the future, B, that any alterations that are made to the exterior of the property, that we do design review on that to make sure that it remains sympathetic to the architectural style of the building. And then third, to ensure that maintenance of the property is taken care of on an annual basis. We will come back and we have staff that simply go out and monitor those properties on an annual basis to be sure they're being kept up and taken care of and don't become a eyesore or a problem again in the future. Next, another one of the projects we did, this building had been sitting vacant. It was the Greyhound bus station in downtown Evansville. We acquired this building, did a $4.4 million rehabilitation of it. And then next slide, completed that rehab for the sake of the community. We worked with, you guys may have heard of a restaurant chain called Brew Burger, and they have other restaurants as part of the Cunningham group. Mike Cunningham worked with us, and this is now a Brew Burger. It is the most successful Brew Burger restaurant in their entire chain, both inside and outside of Indiana, because folks are getting to, I think, experience a unique space, in this case, a 1930s Art Deco building. Next. One of our perhaps most dramatic saves was down in the community of Lyle Station, small rural community in Gibson County. So we are not just investing in big city projects across the state. We also believe in investing in rural communities. Lyle Station was a historically Black community from freed slaves or escaping slaves that came out of the South. They settled there in the community, and this was a later building to that founding. That was pre-Civil War. This building is 1919. We helped them secure a grant from the United States Department of Agriculture for about $800,000. Restored the building, and one of the primary uses of this building today is it serves as a training facility for Toyota, which has a large plant down just outside of Princeton. So they bring their people over here. They pay the local preservation group that owns this facility to be able to do that training in the structure. So it's not only meeting a contemporary need, but it's preserved a early 20th century, in this case, well over 100-year-old building for their community. One of our biggest saves that I think some folks have heard of before was back in the late 1980s. We actually started the effort to save the West Baden Springs Hotel. Maybe some people have heard more of French Lick, but French Lick, West Baden, twin communities in the Springs Valley. And so we started to focus on working to save this building. As a matter of fact, I was the person that started working on it in 89. But the key reason we needed to, next slide, was that the building suffered a 6-story collapse. And we knew that this National Historic Landmark was sort of tilting on being lost forever if we didn't intervene. So my boss at the time, our CEO, and I went and met with Bill and Gail Cook of the Cook Group and said, we would really love it if you would invest $250,000 and we're going to go ask 7 other families to do the same thing. And Bill Cook looked at us and he said, damn, this is going to take a lot more than $250,000 from, 7 or 8 families. He said, $5 million minimum. Well, like 50 million later, they've completely restored the building. Next picture. Those of you who haven't been there before, this is what the atrium space on the interior looks like when the building was finished in 1902. It had the largest dome of any building in the world. So that's part of why we worked so hard to save this building. And fortunately for us, the Cook Group still owns the building today, so they're doing a fantastic job of maintaining it. And then we're boosted in their redevelopment efforts when the state agreed to allow gaming to occur there. So Mr. Cook had to dredge a lake because you could only do gaming on water surfaces like the Ohio River or whatever. So there is now, I think since, have shifted into a more permanent structure adjacent to the French Lick Springs Hotel. Next. And then finally, I'll just close. This is our state headquarters in Indianapolis. We moved from another headquarters over on the canal in downtown Indy into this former Central Avenue United Methodist Church. So we not only use this as an events venue. This is what it looks like now. We spent about $19 million to restore this building for our headquarters. The part to the left that was an education wing that they built is where our primary offices are in the building. Part to the right, which is the sanctuary space, is used today for everything from, corporate trainings to weddings to lots of other different kinds of events that go on there. So that's just to give you a very high level look at the work that we have done. And as I said, we've done this in many, many other communities around the state. We protect permanently through those covenants I referenced and our easements that we received from donors, about 800 properties around the state that we do that regular monitoring on that I discussed earlier. So I am here to just sort of discuss a little bit more about the Ayers House here in town and what should be done with it. I know that you all have been looking at this property a lot longer than I have. I believe you all acquired it by the town in 2024. And I know that parking was viewed as a possibility for this site because trying to enhance the business community that you, by the way, have a great downtown business community in this town. So often, when I go to smaller communities, there are numerous buildings left, as you have, but a lot of them are vacant or underutilized. And so I just drove down your main street on my way here, and to see it as active and all the storefronts lit up is really encouraging. But in this case, I think I felt, and maybe some others in the community felt, that this building had historical significance, architectural significance. If there was a way to look at other options for what might be possible here, that would be a path forward. When I came up the last time that I referenced, I know you had a proposal from two local gentlemen who were looking at a restaurant. That didn't happen. And then the next round was the RFPs that went out to see if you could get responses from any developers or businesses that might look or be interested in redeveloping the property. And my understanding that it was as of last November, you got no responses to that. I did not want Indiana Landmarks to jump into that RFP process because if the free market can do the work and can take care of it, I don't need to jump in. You know, we don't need to bring our involvement to bear if somebody else, the free market can do that instead. But since nobody stepped forward, I chatted with Adam and said, maybe we do need to come back and play some sort of facilitator role to try to get it into the hands of an end user. I want to make sure I'm clear here. Indiana Landmarks is not coming with the request that we are going to be the end user of this building. We wouldn't be. We would be, again, a sort of a middleman in accepting the building from the town and moving it into the hands of a responsible end user that would be acceptable to what the community wants to see happen in that location. I've spent some time preparing for today's meeting, and one of my first places to go in terms of documents was to review your request for proposals. I know the town paid $590,000 for this site, which is a lot of money, and I recognize that fact. I don't know if and maybe Adam or one of you can clarify for me if the say previous request for the use of the property was looking at taking the entire property, including the surface parking lot, or just the parcel that includes the house. Are they they have two separate legal descriptions, or are they all one?
They would be separate.
Okay, because I mean, I was going to say, if our organization were to be involved, we're not interested in owning a surface parking lot. So the town could still continue to own the surface parking lot to the left there of the house in the photo, and make that available to businesses to be able to use as need be as public parking. Our focus obviously would then be on finding what that end use is and what the rehab of the house should look like. So I think if Indiana Landmarks were to play a role where we were to facilitate a use for the property, we would need to come buy that property under the same terms as your request for proposals offered, which is at $1. Am I correct in that when I read it? Yes?
Correct.
Yes. Thank you. I mean, just to quote, conveyance, the town is willing to transfer ownership of the property for as little as $1. So just, I'm putting that out there. I'm not saying that's what the end needs to be, but I think that would certainly help us. The reason I say that is our funds that we would invest, which I'll explain a little bit more about that, would need to go into the rehabilitation of the structure. I haven't done and there's obviously some more work here to do. This is an introductory thing this evening. I don't know what this house and this site is worth in its current state. I don't know what it's worth once it's rehabilitated and made available on the market if a for sale sign was stuck in the front yard. But I can tell you, having been through the house myself, it's not in terrible condition, but neither is it in good shape. It needs a considerable amount of work. I mean, if it's not being heated right now, which I don't think it is, I don't know what condition the plumbing is in. I don't know. Maybe if it's owned by the town, maybe you guys can tell me, is the heat on in the building?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
We can find out, but
Yeah, I mean, but
Yeah,
as you all know, anytime you have a building sit vacant, and there isn't heat in the building, that's going to do long-term damage to the plumbing system. That when you turn it back on, it's gonna, again, that's an unknown. Maybe it's fine, but maybe it's a problem. So I think doing the kind of investigation that's going to be necessary to figure out, what needs to be done, it would be an important step. I've also come into possession of the phase 1 and the phase 2 environmental that was done on this property that I've read. And there are also issues on that front. And that would need to be addressed as a part of this. I look at the phase 2 here, just to read, it says asbestos and lead-based paint and PCBs were confirmed to be present. Now, lead-based paint's not a surprise. Any building built before 1977 has lead-based paint in it. But we in Indianapolis own a former Jewish synagogue building. I just did asbestos containing material abatement remediation on that property, and it cost us $80,000. Don't like to have to do that, to have to take care of environmental issues if there's that level of expense. And I'm also remembering that as part of the phase 1, I think they also pointed out that there was the formaldehyde issue as well from when it was a funeral home. There is possible air containing issues on the first floor within the building as a result of the formaldehyde in the building, which is going to have to be remediated. So, and let's be clear, remediation of asbestos has to happen. Whether this building is demolished tomorrow, you would have to remediate first. So that expense, whatever it ends up being, whether this building is rehabbed and put to a new use or whether it's demolished, remediation needs to happen. So knowing what that is and what those expenses amount to is also going to be key for anybody that looks to redevelop this property. So I'm here tonight just to say that Indiana Landmarks is interested in working with the town of Fortville on what the future of this property looks like. That includes taking possession of the property and to get it rehabbed, at least to a white box condition. I don't tonight have an end use for what this building could or should be. And so clearly that's going to involve, like I said, further investigation into current property values, cost of remediation, cost of other physical improvements that the building needs. Alex was able to dig up for me a 1931 photograph of the house. So I know what the historic appearance of the property looks like. It had baluster railings around the top and around the portico around the top. And, if we would want to restore elements of the building that really would bring back the architectural character of the property, that would probably also include things like removing the aluminum siding from the house to go back to the original siding. And other restoration elements. And those are just outside of the building, the exterior of the structure, not to mention interior improvements that might be needed. So, with that, I'm going to stop because I don't want to take up too much of your time. But are there questions that I can answer for you? Or if you're just like, Mark, that's great, but we're not interested, I'll go on my merry way because I have a lot of other communities that we can invest in. But I want to make sure that we feel this is an important property and want to help Fortville find out what a solution might look like.
Well, I'm interested in a few things. You realize that the town is going to rework the alleys on 2 sides, which will take part of that property, but not much.
I think I do remember that being discussed
Yes,
previously,
yes.
But yeah.
And, okay, let's say this process happened and it's sold to whatever. Who takes care of managing that property to keep it to your standards after the business that wants to buy it takes over?
They do. It's just like any other private property in the town of Fortville. The owner is responsible for the maintenance of the property and maintaining a business in
So
there,
you
paying the
don't- you don't-
taxes, all
you
that
don't
kind of stuff.
Make sure that it's kept its integrity by the new owner.
We do, yeah. So when I mentioned that I think I mentioned three things. One of them is where we conduct design reviews. So if an owner, say 10 years later, because those covenants do run with the property in perpetuity. So if 10 years later, either they or another owner said, we want to put in, renovate the windows, so would you come meet with us, help us figure out, find a contractor, are there funding sources to do that, all the kinds of things we could serve as a resource to them to do. We would do that and then make sure that when they do the work that it's done, accurately and appropriately to the building.
Okay, you mentioned something about covenants if you
Yes.
do this project. What happens if a business owner buys this property, maintains it to your standards, and then sells it?
They can do that. This doesn't
But
restrict.
them covenants still stay with that
They
property?
do. That's why I said they're in perpetuity. So they are perpetual with the deed. So any future owner buying the property from the one who bought it from us would need to know and understand that those covenants are on the property. And as I said a little while ago, we have 800 properties around the state that we have covenants on and easements on that are protected in a similar fashion, and we don't run into issues with
Well,
those.
I'm just thinking ahead. So what you're saying then is if you revamp the property, you find a owner that's gonna move in, he buys the property, he maintains it, does his business in it. 10, 15 years down the road, he sells it. Whoever buys that still cannot destroy that property,
That is correct.
even if it becomes vacant and say the town was in the same position as they are now.
Yeah, I mean, I think in that case, so, and because I want to say covenants and easements are not so sound that they don't run into issues potentially down the road because of owners. And if we have recalcitrant property owners who don't do what they're supposed to do under the legal document, then what Indiana Landmarks has done is we've gone to court against a property owner to say, we've sent you 10 letters over the past 5 years to maintain your property, and here are the things that we need you to do to correct the issues at the property, and they don't do it, then we go to court, sue the owner to say you need to, and then unfortunately, then it takes a judge telling them that they need to get that work done.
So if this owner of this property vacates it and it don't sell, do you get it back to resell?
It's not. I mean, that's not the way the covenants are written, is that it's coming back to us. We do have the right in the legal document to re-enter the property to take corrective action on issues. So like say the roof had a hole in it, if we needed to go in and repair it to correct that, and that was something the town had on your plate as a concern, that we could certainly correct. But it wouldn't be.
But you don't resell it.
Yeah, we wouldn't be taking the property back to resell. Now, if the town contacted us and said, hey, we're up against a wall here, we don't want to tear this property down, but it's a public safety hazard or something of that sort, then we might come back and do what we're doing tonight and say, hey, if Indiana Landmarks needs to take the building back or acquire it again to correct the problems that you all are concerned about, we could certainly look at doing that at that time. I just can't commit that tonight that we would do that because
But that scenario could happen.
it could, you never know. Yes. Long sort of worst case scenarios
Right.
can play out.
That's
for
what
sure.
we have to look at.
Sure.
Chris, I know you wrote a few things down.
Yeah, I do have a question for you, Mark. So if Indiana Landmarks were to take ownership, possession of the building, let's say for $1, and say you put $1 million into it, because I would assume that it's going to take at least $1 million to rehab it. When you try to find that end user, you sell it, are you just recouping your cost, or are you selling it for a profit? What does this look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I say it's a great question because I would love to stand here and tell you that every real estate project that we have taken on has been a moneymaker, but they aren't. I mean, sometimes we acknowledge the fact that it's our mission to preserve Indiana's architecture and save those meaningful places that I talked about. And sometimes that means as a result that we invest more money into a property to do it right. And recognize that we may not get an offer for that amount of our investment in the property. So, if we put $350,000 to renovate a house and we get 300 out of it, sometimes we're glad we got 300. I mean, I would love to stand here and say that we put 350 in and we made 450, and occasionally that happens, but that's not our mission as a nonprofit organization. And so it's to save community landmarks throughout the state.
I was just looking at your Form 990 from last year.
Mhm.
I'm the dumb CPA on the group, so I gravitate towards documents. It looks like last year, when I look at grants and similar amounts paid, it was about $1 million. So were those grant dollars used to work with projects like this, or were they used for other things? I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, I mean, we are a private foundation, so our revenue is generated about, I'm going to say 65 to 70% by our endowment, the one I mentioned earlier.
Yep.
We do raise the difference. We have a membership of around 6,500 members, I think, around the state and out of state. And so donations that come from our members, as well as we do pursue grants for various projects that we are doing. So I can't stand here and tell you exactly what that $1 million was spent for, but
I'm just trying to figure out what happens here. So we decide to go down this road.
I mean, and it is, I'm not saying it'll happen with this property, but it is certainly possible that we would say we're tackling project X in a community, and while we're going to invest a considerable amount of our money in a project, we might look for additional funding to put into it to either fill the gap, like we were talking about a minute ago with Chris, or to lower our overall investment in a property. Yeah.
So after this happens and you get in there and you think that it's not feasible to do your project, and then what?
It could be. I mean, then, you all, I guess, as the owners of the property, either keep looking for other users of it or make the difficult decision that you think it should be taken down and turned into a parking lot. I mean, obviously, I hope that doesn't happen. And maybe a lot of you hope that doesn't happen. But the other thing I can offer is, if you're like totally uninterested in what I came to talk about tonight, but I mean, we do have a really extensive network around the state and are very sort of closely bonded with real estate developers and others that take on some of these projects that you saw me present about. And, it's possible we could push the word out to our network to say, hey, this property is available. The town of Fortville is trying to shop it around. I don't think we really did much of that when you put out the RFP, although Alex and I thought about that, about ways that we might be able to help promote it. But if you think that might be, hey, let's go promote it and see who else is out there first, we can certainly do that and help you all out. We have a magazine that goes out to thousands of addresses that we could put the picture of the house in and make that offer available, whatever. But so there's those kinds of ways. I'm just trying to get in here and talk to you all as soon as possible, because I figured since this has been sitting on your plate for 2 years, that you were maybe trying to figure out how do we move this along.
So in that scenario I just talked about, okay, we'll say we're gonna do this project. And you get in there and see it's not feasible. Then you give us back of the property without the covenants?
Well, I think what I want to do is that if, like, let's say tonight, you guys at least say you're interested, right? You're not saying no, you're not saying yes, but you're interested. I would like to get into the building, do a little bit more of an inspection in terms of sort of like, what are we dealing with? What are we taking on? Probably bring a contractor with me, and to get a sense of exactly what you're talking about is what are the needs? Is it feasible? And probably also talk to a local realtor and to give me an idea of if we were to white box this. And when I say that, I mean restore the exterior of the house, get the inside where, whether it was an accountant's office or a residential property or some other, financial services business or whatever that went in there, that it would be ready to go. They would just need to do the finishes, the painting, the other things. The systems would be taken care of. So would the value that we're being told it's worth with that completed meet what I need to invest? And if not, is there a gap there? That, it's going to take, $700,000 to rehab it, but it's only going to be worth $600,000 on the market afterwards. There's a $100,000 gap. So can we find a $100,000 gap to fill that? Can I go out and talk to some foundations, et cetera, to see if there is a way that we can do that? If ultimately not, then I won't move forward with you. And then you're, as I was saying earlier, free to kind of do with it as you need to.
Finish with all your process, it goes on the market. It meets all building codes and everything.
Yes.
Okay.
I would probably bring an architect on board to work with me to design the plans, and as part of that, so we would meet all local and state building.
I'm gonna give Scott the chance since he's coming remote. Scott, do you have anything you want to add or ask?
Well, I want Mark. I appreciate you coming back in. Your information is very valuable to the group. Dan, I think at this point, if I were to make a call, I would say we need to pull in for an executive session with the council and us together.
That's right.
And digest the information Mark has given us. I don't think, this is obviously just my opinion, I don't think we're ready to commit in any direction, and I don't want to take up a bunch more of their time if the general consensus is we're just, this isn't going to work for us. And I don't know what everyone's opinion is, but I think instead of taking more of Mark's time, I would ask that we, if Tanya's there, get a nod from her that we just have an executive session and discuss the path we want to take and set it in
I can
stone.
verify there was a nod.
Okay. Well, was it a nod left and right or up and down?
Oh, it was up and down.
Okay. So that would be my suggestion. Let's pull the reins back. Let's all meet and have set a path.
That would have been right where I was going too, Scott. I think what you've shared with us today, Mark, has been very helpful.
Good.
The fact that you're willing to come in, take a look at the building, come in with a contractor and architect, and then at least give us an idea. Okay, here's what we're really seeing and what may need to be done. That would be helpful for both of you to know and for us to know. But I think before we ask you to take on that burden, let's make sure we as a group are ready to move forward. I think it's an interesting concept. I've seen the wonderful work you've done. I can remember as a kid driving by that West Baden thing and looking at it, it was just falling apart. And now it's back to being the eighth wonder of the world again. So I think it's worth of a discussion at a higher level in an executive session. And then somebody from our team can get back to you. But I appreciate you coming here tonight.
Definitely. Thank you all for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Oh, this is Tanya Davis. She's the head of the town council.
He's our boss.
She's our boss.
The only question I have is there ever a situation or a case where you've allowed the property to be destroyed after you guys have invested it? Because the only reason why I ask that is because of the nature that our town is growing. So is there a possibility down the road if a particular owner, let's not say the town, under your covenants and everything could get out of that in order to tear it down to rebuild something else? Yes, yeah, please, yeah.
I would say the only time that we have done something like that where we've released covenants is if, well, sort of two things. One is like a natural disaster. We have had situations where buildings have been hit by a tornado or something, and we've had to say, we can't retain it at this point. And I think the second would be as if some kind of structural default develops in a building, we've allowed that to then guide us on a release of covenants. Otherwise, if it's just, I don't like this building anymore, or we want to do something else here, right, that no, we're not going to release the covenants just for that reason. So
They could build a room.
yeah, oh yeah, we've done additions, we do addition reviews or new construction on a site. So there's other paths forward. It's just demolition is not something we would look at down the road. So yeah. Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, thank you very much. We appreciate your interest in the building and Indiana's history.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you.
Alex, do you have any comment or questions for the gentlemen while they're here?
I do not. But I can tell you that I've worked with Indiana Landmarks on a handful of projects over the years, and they do great work. And they also have some, as you may or may not know, they have some statutory teeth as well. There's some laws that give Indiana Landmarks some powers to intervene and step in and protect properties also. So
Okay, thank you.
sounds like we'll need to find a date for the council and the RDC to have a joint executive session and discuss the possible future of this property, which let me know, let Adam know, and we'll get that noticed up.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
guys.
gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, so now we're into review of financials.
I reviewed the financials and there was something that jumped out at me and it was explained to me, but it might be
No.
good to have it
Sure.
explained to everybody else. I noticed on one of our bonds that we bought, we pay 7.64% interest for 10 years. And I was always under the understanding that bonds went up for around 4. So it might be good for someone to explain that to the rest of the council.
Well, I'll give it my best shot having background in this area. This is for a fairly new TIF district, right, Adam? And generally new TIF districts have risks that go with them. Will it actually be built out? Will it throw off the revenue it's going to? You can go a couple different ways. One is the developer will buy its own TIF bond at a fairly high interest rate, or you sell it on the open market. In this case, I think we found a company that specializes in buying these, or our team at the time worked with a company that specializes in buying these TIF bonds and holding them as an investment. The nice part here is it has a 10-year call provision. So once we're at that 10-year call, then we'll have a good history on the TIF district and the revenue's coming off. It'll probably be thrown off more than 1.25 times the revenue needed. And then we can go out and do an actual municipal bond, tax-exempt municipal bond deal, which you're right, Ed. Depending upon where rates are, it should be in that range of 4. And if they keep cutting, even lower. But that's one of the reasons you went on early on, there is some risk associated with that, and you're going to pay for the risk. I don't know if that makes sense to everybody or not.
Thank you. Other than that, I will make a motion that we approve the financials as written.
I'll second.
All those in favor of approving?
Aye.
Aye. All right, next item is approval of invoice, I guess invoice.
Yeah, one.
Adam, could you explain this a little bit for us, please?
Yeah, this was an invoice that was given to me by Heath Luther, our parks manager, and this is for expenditures related to the landmark park improvements. So the paperwork gives you a listing of what exactly those charges were coming from. And so the invoice at this time is for $35,950. And the RDC had authorized, excuse me, up to $1.7 million for landmark park improvements.
Okay, how's come all the items on this work cost breakdown are not any numbers in it?
I've got a completed date in the far column up top, the first page is. Just that area is what they've completed.
Right, but why hasn't this been?
Because they haven't done it yet. That's why it's got zeros.
Okay.
You look at the ones up top, it says percent complete 100. That's what we're paying for, what they've completed.
Oh, I realize that.
Yeah.
Yes, I realize that.
And Adam, I can't remember, do we have retainage on this? Like we normally do on a construction progress? Our contract?
I do not know. Sorry.
Alex?
I think they have if they have not executed a performance bond, I think that they will.
Okay.
But I think we're still in the planning, are we not? I mean, I know that
Right.
they developed the plan.
Okay.
Right.
I think that the council has, and you guys have looked at that. Adam, am I remembering that correctly?
Yes, that's correct. So more specifically, what these charges are for,
It's the
engineering and management, survey and geotech, construction documents at 70%. It's really those three things.
Yeah, the retainage jumped in my head because I forgot to ask that previously, and I'm sure we do, and Joe will verify that. Okay, I don't have any other questions. I have a motion to approve the invoice.
I'll make a motion to approve the invoice for Reynolds for $39,950.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been motioned and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Passes. Any public comment? Please. State your name for the group.
Hello, my name is Timothy Cook.
Hi there.
My middle name is Matthew. I go by Matt. But
Where do you live?
I live on 10820 Brenda Court in Fortville.
Okay.
And I'm here to introduce myself to the commission and to the people here. My family recently acquired the building at 225 East Broadway, right down the street in between the subway and the speedway. And we're in the process of trying to get it improved. And I grew up in Lawrence, but growing up, we did go to the Casios in Fortville a couple of times for my dad's birthday and my uncle's birthday. Went to the Fortville Grill before it was Lincoln Square, and been to the skate park a couple of times. But my family really likes this community, and I'm here to represent my mother. She's the building owner. I'm here with my brother, Darren. And we're just in the process of getting that old building kind of improved. And the goal is to make it a bicycle repair shop in the future. It needs some work. And I had communicated with Adam in the past via email. And I had found out that there is a facade improvement program and that there's funds out there. And I don't know the protocol or the steps to take formally to try to be a part of that program.
Yeah.
I've got some documents, some quotes, and a plan for improving the building. And I just need to know what steps to take going forward.
Adam, we
Yeah.
have kind of a checklist, don't we?
We do. And actually, I got your email that I think you just sent over the specific stuff in the last day or two.
Yes.
So I haven't had a time to really delve into it.
Okay.
But what we'll do is we will definitely put this on the next month's agenda for their
Okay.
formal review. So just when I looked at it in a cursory way, I think you've got what they were asking for per their guidelines. So I'll take a more formal look at it and see if there's anything else we need. But yeah, we'll get you on the February agenda. So I'll get you more information on
Okay.
it.
Yeah, what I had emailed you guys was kind of a summary of the quotes.
Okay.
Like one of the roof quotes was 20 pages. So I didn't want to overwhelm you and send
Yeah,
you
that's okay.
hundreds of pages, but I do have those quotes
Yeah.
on paper and in PDF format if you need more detail.
Yeah, I'll definitely let you know. But like we talked about, from a planning perspective, I'm really excited about the project. I think it's a fantastic use for that building that's there. So, now it's just a matter of looking at that paperwork and the numbers carefully and seeing what they would be willing to contribute. But it should be a great project.
Okay. Awesome.
Adam, on facade programs, don't we have to have more than one quote?
Yeah, I think we have 3. And I think when I looked at it quickly, it was, I think he's got 3.
Okay.
But we'll get you a full.
Yeah, the whole guideline.
Yeah, what I'll do is about a week before the meeting in February, I'll get them the full packet for them to consider. And then you can come back at the February meeting and explain the case and the request. And then if the request is granted, they'll make a commitment for whatever amount of money that you're seeking. And that's that. So we'll get you some more information. But yeah, thanks for sending that over and excited about it.
Yeah, thank you for introducing yourself tonight also.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it. Okay. Staff comment.
The only thing that I wanted to go over quickly was in follow up to our November meeting where we talked about a possible formation of a community development corporation, or CDC as it's known. I believe Carmel has a version of the CDC that they use for different redevelopment efforts. And I've been told that it can be beneficial for different projects. However, Alex, as instructed, has researched it, talked to some of his colleagues, and I think can offer some advice on a CDC.
Yeah, so Adam's right. They exist, as you all know, and we talked about this in November. I talked to my partner. You guys all know Dennis Otten. He was familiar with it, and he shared with me a handful of cautionary tales, is what I would call them, of examples of communities and situations around the state where these corporations exist. And I suppose the easiest way to think about it's a corporation, and when you form it, I mean, it's a legal entity with actual powers that is not under the jurisdiction of the RDC or the town council. And so they can work great if everybody on that corporation has a shared and common vision and of what the council and the RDC and the community thinks should be done as far as development and use of dollars. And we're talking real dollars that they have, and taxpayer dollars that they get, and also debt that they can handle. Where it gets sideways is you get a corporation full of members that is really independent and with no oversight or little to no oversight by RDC, council, and otherwise, and accountability. So, I mean, I don't need to belabor it, but it's a situation that if the town would like to move forward with it, we can come back with more specifics. But I think my recommendation, and in really just talking with Dennis, that it seems to be Fortville is doing really well with the RDC and the council and the different statutory bodies that we have in place now to pull the levers of the economic development avenues that are available, and that this development corporation may, while it offers some potential benefits, the downside and the potential risk, we think outweigh that. So I'll leave it with that. I can field any questions you've got, but they do exist, that they do provide some opportunities, but I'm not sure it's a great fit for Fortville or a lot of communities actually. But I'm only concerned about Fortville.
Scott, any questions of Alex or anything?
No, it just sounds to me like we'd be handing Ed the keys to the town with a blank checkbook.
I would kind of concur with Alex and Dennis's research. They tend to be in little larger communities, and I have seen them in my lifetime. You've seen these corporations who do operate independently make some decisions that may not have been in the same interest as the council or redevelopment commission. So it's always a cautionary tale. And I don't really see communities our size that have a CDC. Generally, when you get a little bigger. So I think the concept works, maybe not at this time, would be my personal opinion.
Do you need a motion,
If
Adam?
No.
if you consider the relationship that all of our commissions or committees have in this town right now at this moment, I think we'd be upsetting the apple cart for no reason at all, based on what Alex's comments. So, I know Tanya's hard to deal with sometimes. Is she still there? Can she hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
She gave you a
dang.
meeting.
I thought she left. Dang it. Okay. Well, anyway, it seems like another hand in the kitty that we don't need, but I'm not going to belabor it. But thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Adam. Sure. Any board comments? Besides Chris, I know you wanted to try to move on to your next thing.
We're good.
Okay. Ed?
I have one question on the property. Did we have any movement on it?
On what property?
The redo of the loft project.
No, the one that Kraus was wanting to sell.
No, not yet. I haven't honestly had an opportunity to delve into that yet.
If I can jump in just really quickly though, and I thought, Ed, you were actually talking about the Merchot property and the Bodner PUD development that I think Dan mentioned. Just a quick update. I had a call and Dennis Otten and Buzz Crone earlier this week with Bodner, and that is moving forward. I let Tanya know, and I'll update the council on Monday as well. So we've got a timeline together for all of the different meetings and documents and notices and so forth. Anticipate that the bonds will be issued, and this is a BOT, so build, operate, transfer project, the BOT projects that you guys are familiar with, like the water plant and others, mid-March. And so they are looking to start building, and we should be seeing the money should be available and your part done in March, and construction starting once the weather allows in March, April. So that is moving forward, and we'll have more specifics, and we'll have Bodner come through and we'll get you the timeline, but that is the latest on that.
Good. Thank you. Mike, you're good?
I'm good.
I'm good. Scott, anything else from your end?
No, sir, I'm good.
I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Scott, safe travels.
Thanks,
Bye,
Scott.
everybody.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks.